John Mackey, and this is Scott Taylor, and you're watching The Huddle on Shaw TV.
You're not John Mackey.
I'm totally John Mackey.
I've met John Mackey.
You haven't met John Mackey.
He doesn't look anything like you.
He looks exactly like me.
This is Rebecca Horan from Football Manitoba, who is my co-host this week on The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV. And Rebecca was very generous with her time and decided that she would be the co-host since John Mackey had better things to do with his time.
John.
It is a busy time of the season, though.
It really is,
and especially for him because he's got Bisons and he's got all the sponsorships coming up, and he's got the Senior Bowl and the provincial team. He's got lots to do. So we're going to miss John today, but I think this is better than John anyway, frankly. Rebecca, big show today.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Lots of Transcona Nationals.
Yes, we love the Nationals.
My spokesmodel, Rebecca Horan. We'll have male and female.
Indeed, we will.
John and Jeremy with us,
Yep.
and Kristen and Claudette with us.
Yep. So the cheerleaders and the football players.
Oh, it's going to be great.
It's going to be a really good show. And Scott, you don't know very much about cheerleading, so you're going to learn something this week.
But I saw Bring It On.
Which is one of my favorite movies, actually.
No, it's not really.
No. Oh, it totally is. I'm super cheerful and high-pitched. Bring it on, always.
Rick Hankowich is on the show, the commissioner of the Winnipeg High School Football League, as is Mason Bennett, who had a tremendous game in the blue and gold game from the Vincent Massey Trojans. We have a special show. This is Rebecca Horan. I'm Scott Taylor. When we come back, the Huddle starts. It's community created on Shaw TV. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Huddle. We have a very, very frightening studio audience today. We have been joking it up way too much, and my guest is a very serious guy, I can tell. With me is a player who actually shocked me last weekend when we were in at the Eastside Eagles field, yep. And it was the blue and gold game, and I got to admit, I went out to look at some other football players, yeah, and ended up seeing mostly Mason Bennett from the Vincent Massey Trojans here in Winnipeg, who played just an awesome football game.
Thank you.
Coming off that left defensive end, those poor quarterbacks didn't have a clue you were coming. That was a tremendous game, but I want to talk about you. How long have you played football? And you're only 15 years old playing at this level.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I played football for 8 years, started with Fort Grey Lions and Terminator. You know, I played a couple years Terminator. It was a fun time, just running around, talking to everybody.
The bobbleheads.
Yeah. And then I played Adam, minor bantam, and then came to Massey.
Now, have you always been a defensive end?
No, I played linebacker my whole community football life, and then I started defensive end last year.
Now, you were in, what, grade 9 last year?
Yeah.
And played on the JV team.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty successful club.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
You guys did real well.
Yeah, I know we came a little short at the end there, but overall it's a pretty good season.
You were undefeated up until the final game.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty good year.
It was fun.
So tell me a little bit about why you decided to play football. Why not basketball or softball or something else? Why'd you play football?
Well, my mom and dad talked a bit. You know, my dad played college football and it just seemed like fun, so I just had to try it out.
Now, your dad played college football at?
Air Force.
So you come from the right genetics, because your mom was an athlete too.
Yeah.
So it's not like you kind of fell into this thing.
Yeah, no, I just runs in the family, I guess.
You played a terrific game on Saturday. So tell us a little bit about this Vincent Massey team this year, and how good are you going to be? Is this varsity team going to be as good as that JV team?
Well, it seems pretty good right now. We start spring camp in a couple of weeks. We have a couple of preseason games coming up, and you know, we look pretty good so far. We have a couple of team workouts. We seem like a big family already. Now,
when I watched the game on Saturday, my first thought was, it was the speed that you brought to the game, because you're not that big a guy.
Yeah.
You're about, what, 2'5",
Yeah, 207, 205.
Yeah. But you're tall and rangy, and your speed off the line was pretty incredible. Those poor quarterbacks were starting to wonder where this guy came from. What do you chalk up as kind of the biggest skill you bring to the field?
I think my speed the most. You know, I ran a 4.77 at the combine, which is my fastest I've ever ran. I know it's easy just to run around the linemen. Like, why do I have to touch them? I can just run around them. Yeah,
there's no sense having to do a swim move or cut inside, just outrun them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you were absolutely tremendous at the blue and gold game. What was it like to play in that game?
It was really fun.
Now, was that your first?
No, I played last year, too. And, you know, it was a fun time. Made lots of friends with the other people on the other teams. Stuff.
It's kind of the best part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good stuff. We're going to come back and we're going to play 10 questions. Okay? Yeah. Mason Bennett, we're going to play 10 questions right after this, because we always do that with the high school guys. You're watching The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Huddle. As promised, it's 10 questions time. Mason Bennett is our guinea pig, our guest for this particular period of the show. Congratulations, by the way. You were JV Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
So we're not here with somebody who can't play, but can't ask questions. You've seen this segment before on the show. You know what I'm getting into here. So here we go. Question number one. What's your favorite sports team?
Chicago Bears.
Still no Winnipeg Jets, no Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Of all the folks we've had on this show, it's always an NFL team, it seems to be. Your favorite athlete?
Israel Donaghy.
Yeah,
sure.
Me too. Your favorite movie?
Remember the Titans.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a great flick. Favorite TV show?
Well, other than the Huddle, the NFL Network.
The Huddle. Well done. You can come back. You can do the show again. Your favorite music?
Well, I like all kinds of music, but like hip hop, rap, more my kind of music.
Yeah, sounds about right for a guy who's 15. Your favorite entertainer?
Kevin Hart.
It's incredible. You're like the 7th in a row. Kevin Hart's the biggest thing in the world. It's amazing to me. What do you like to do when you're not playing football?
Workout, favorite thing.
Really?
Train. Yeah, I love it.
Now, what's your favorite sport to play other than football?
Basketball.
You still going to play basketball for the Trojans?
Hopefully next year.
Yeah, good stuff. What's your favorite subject in school? I mean, we should talk about school. We are talking about high school football.
Science is my favorite, but math is my best mark before.
Oh, you got it made. Just keep doing well in math.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. And the question that everybody waits for. Betty or Veronica?
Betty.
Well, Rebecca, our floor director, is not happy, but that's okay. You're a great sport. Thanks.
Thanks.
And we'll have you back. We're going to talk more about the Canada Cup coming up.
Okay,
It'll be good stuff. Mason Bennett from the Vincent Massey Trojans. When we come back, we've got lots more here on The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Huddle. I'm Scott Taylor. That's Rick Hankowicz. We go back, 40 years?
35, 40 years?
Yeah,
a long time.
I remember Rick Hankowicz when he was a broken down lacrosse player and a pretty good football player.
Thank you, yes.
That was
a long
years
time
ago.
back.
And lacrosse just beat you up.
Oh, badly.
Lacrosse beat you up bad. The most interesting thing about Rick now is that he's not only a football coach, but he's also the brand new commissioner of the Winnipeg High School Football League. And is congratulations in order, or is it everything you ever dreamed of doing? You've been in the job now for a few months. You know what you're up against.
Know what I'm up against.
And you applied for this job.
I applied for the job.
This job.
I wanted the job. You know what? Yeah, I think it's going to be everything. The league, for the last few years, being run by an educator, and its growth was starting to now become stagnant in a lot of ways. And now I think that we're starting to open up a lot of different areas. We've got Lorette High School coming in this year, so we've got a lot of different things, but we have issues that have to be dealt with, and so far it's
and you and I have talked about these, and I know you've had no problem discussing them.
Yep.
So let's talk about the three major issues that you have to deal with now as the commissioner.
One was the transportation issue, and that's actually in our last league meeting was dealt with very quickly and efficiently.
And that's the deal with Brandon coming to Winnipeg and vice versa.
And what we had was, it was a quirk in the scheduling that we had a Brandon team going out to Northwest Ontario twice, so the costs were astronomical. We had Northwest Ontario going to Brandon. Things like that shouldn't have happened. When Brandon came into the league and the Northwest Ontario teams were there, what we had originally said was that they would play in Winnipeg at a neutral site. Somehow we lost that whole thing, so that's been reestablished. The other thing we're doing now is all three Northwest Ontario teams, Dryden, Fort Francis, Kenora, are staying in the A division.
All right.
And all three Brandon teams are staying in the AA division.
So now they don't have to play each other anyway.
Well, exactly. They don't have to play each other, and now we've got also we reduced travel by Brandon playing 2 games at home. Each team basically plays 2 games at home. Same with Northwest Ontario, though they have travel no matter how you look at it.
Because no matter what you say about this whole Manitoba thing, with Northwestern Ontario being part of Football Manitoba, being part of the Winnipeg High School Football League, travel is going to be an issue.
Travel is always going to be an issue, you know.
And nobody's ever going to be happy about it.
I think.
I think they can be happier.
They can be happier, but we're never going to satisfy everybody.
You're never going to satisfy everybody with that situation.
You know, those trips to Fort Francis are tough. They are very tough on teams. And we just have to make sure that we basically try to accommodate it the best we can. If and when we find the Northwest Ontario and Brandon will be in the same divisions, we, in our last meeting, basically told them, you go back, you talk to your administrators, we will play those games on a Saturday.
All right. Yeah,
bring them in.
So they don't lose a whole day of school.
They don't lose a whole day of school. Not only that, but now, you know what? Your parents get to come in and see you play. Your family gets to come in. Your friends, your schoolmates, everybody gets to see you come in and play. So it opens it up. And one of the things that we need to do was start bringing more of a fan base back in.
Absolutely. Issue number 2.
Recruiting?
We're not supposed to use that word in high school football.
No, it's really a nasty word.
I actually said it. I wrote it once on the Huddle.co and got 4 phone calls.
I'm sure we'll get more.
Don't use the word recruit.
We've already been talking about different avenues of this, and one of the things, and it actually came into our spring camp conversation, where now our feeder schools, what was happening is every so often you got a kid who was pretty smart, would apply to 2 or 3 schools and then go to all 3 camps, right?
Right.
So what we said was, in that case, right off the hop, is those kids cannot practice with any team until they're accepted in that school. So that sort of limits that right now. That takes away. And in terms of recruiting a kid in the middle school in that 6 to 8 grade segment, they're open. They are open. We can't change that. That's part and parcel of what we've got. But we're very actively pursuing what we're calling the red shirt rule, and we've still got a lot of fine tuning to do. So will it happen for this season coming up? I don't know. But what we are trying to do is make sure now that if you transfer schools, you will sit a year. Basically, what we're doing is going back to the old
What the
NCAA.
universities do.
Yeah. The NCAA CIS rule. So you're going to sit a year. So, and I think that one will do it. You know, football-wise, we know where we stand. It's going to have to go before athletic council and everything else. But we have some issues that we have to deal with. We're meeting with Morris Glimcher again next week to talk about this. So I think we'll get that settled off.
Issue number 3.
Refresh my memory.
Had to do with money, didn't it? Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
later.
we'll talk about it
Take
later.
a break.
I can't take
We've
about
been doing this too long.
That's right.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Rick Henkowicz, the executive director, now the commissioner of the Winnipeg High School Football League. This is The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV. Welcome back to The Huddle. We remembered the issue. And the reason we ran into the issue was because we both played in leather helmets.
Exactly.
And with heads like these, we tended to forget. But the issue was, you don't have Canada Stadium to play games in, or championship weekend games in, or playoff games in. It's now Investors Group Field, and that may become an issue for you.
That has become an issue right now. The teams that are basically in the north end, Garden City, West Goldona, Maples, Sisler, those teams, etc. Right now, the travel issue for them is becoming huge. We received an email from the transportation coordinator at Winnipeg 1, basically stating that if we have games at Investors Field at 3, 4, or 5 o'clock, that our teams will have to leave at 1:15 in the afternoon.
That's true.
And that's not going to go over well with a lot of administrators. It's something we have to deal with now. Winnipeg 1 is looking at do we find some form of alternative transportation? However we're going to do it, we're not sure, but we have
Saturday
to do
games?
that. We may have to, but one of the benefits of high school football is not playing Saturday games.
Yeah, there you go.
So
that's an issue.
It is an issue.
To play in that stadium, which you want to play in that stadium, and I think the kids want to play in the stadium.
Kids want to play in the stadium. The stadium is beautiful.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, to deny the kids an opportunity to play in that stadium, no, we would never want to do that. But I think what we'll have to do is when we do the schedule, is look at keeping us out of the stadium for as long as possible. We'll still have our championship games there, probably our semifinals there, but we're going to have to try to figure out ways to keep everything more centralized at this point in time, and that's another issue for another time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We got to promote something.
Yes.
The Senior Bowl's coming up.
Absolutely.
That's important.
Yes, very.
It's the biggest game of the kind of off season, the end of the season. It's for all of those kids who had their last year and played so well. And tell us all about it, when it happens, and who are the coaches this year?
The honorary coaches this year, well, first of all, the teams are named after John Pushnak, a Churchill legend, WHSFL icon. John's teams in Churchill were legendary in what he did. And then Nick Leping from St. Paul's. Of course, same scenario. He was an icon and a legend at St. Paul's and within the league.
There's a street named after him in Winnipeg. He's a legend.
Yes.
Nick Leping Way.
That's right. I've seen that.
Yes.
I got lost on it, but...
No, you didn't. Bought a car on it.
Probably, yeah.
So coaches.
Coaches for Team Leping is Tim Kist is going to be the head coach from the University of Manitoba. And what we've done is we generally try to get the Rifles and the Bison coaches involved in this game. It's an extra week of recruiting for them.
Does that mean that Mackey's coaching again?
Mackey's coaching again.
Coaches like 9 teams.
I know he does. But you know what? His girlfriend does pay well, to keep him away from home. So. Oh, we're dead on
So
that.
anyway, so you got Tim Kist and the Bisons.
Yeah, and the new Rifles coach Ryan Carhut is very excited to be part of this.
Great.
And
It's a great opportunity for him to recruit.
it's a great. One of the things we've seen over the last 4 years that we've ran this game now is that they have found those diamond in the rough.
Yep.
A lot of people tend to give our AAA division all the attention and everything else,
true.
and they're finding that in A and AA they're very good.
All sorts of great players. Mason Dick,
Absolutely.
who's going to the University of Saskatchewan, was a AA player.
As a AA
Yeah.
player, exactly.
Absolutely.
And so we find that there's those diamond in the rough. We've actually got the head coach from VI Raiders is coming in this year also.
Nice.
Now we're
That's Vancouver Island Raiders.
yes. And we're waiting to hear back
Football
from Blake
jargon,
Nill,
the VI Raiders.
The VI Raiders. Blake Nill and Brian Towers from UC and U of S were supposed to come by for the camp. We're just waiting to hear for sure if they're doing that. But
So the
it's
game's May
exposure.
25th.
Game is May 25th. Practices are May 22nd to May 24th. Wednesday,
Game's
Thursday,
at?
Friday at Eastside Eagles.
Great place. Great place to watch
People are welcome to come by the practices.
Yep.
We really want to see you at the game. The game is excellent. It's a showcase game in that we've got a lot of guys that go on to junior football CIS, but we've got a lot of guys it's their last game for whatever reason.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And so they take away a great memory. They get to play with great players. They develop new friendships and everything else, and it's just outstanding the way everything comes together on it. Kenny Gordon, Stacey Dannard, I got to plug those two. They do a lot of work with me on this game.
Yep.
And it's
been your passion for a long
been
time.
my passion for a while. Yeah.
Rick Hankowicz, the commissioner of the Winnipeg High School Football League, the Senior Bowl. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the Senior Bowl.
The Senior Bowl, yeah.
It's going to be a great game.
But
it's
not
the
named
25th.
after you and I.
No, could have been. It's going to be the 25th at Eastside Eagles
Eastside
Field
Eagles Field at noon.
At noon, 12 noon. So get out there, watch the kids. As Rick says, it might be the last game for a lot of them.
Yeah.
When we come back, we've got lots more. This is a busy show. This is The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV. Welcome back to The Huddle. We have promised kind of a Transcona Nationals day, and this is the best part. I don't have to talk football for a few minutes. I get to learn something, and I don't have to talk actually football. We will talk about football. With me are the, can I say this, the queens of cheerleading in Transcona? Would that work? Would that be fair?
Absolutely.
To my far right is Claudette Withers, who is the co-founder of the cheer team at the Transcona Nationals. And to my right is Claudette's daughter, Kristen, who is now the director of cheerleading on the board of the Transcona Nationals and the coach of the cheer squad.
Correct.
I'm not going to say cheerleading because it sounds. I mean, as soon as I saw Bring It On, it was like everything changed for me. Why cheerleading? Why did you bring it on? What was the background of a cheer team at the Nationals?
Well, my really good girlfriend, Jackie Popplestone, decided that, seeing as though there were a lot of girls coming over to the club to watch their brothers practice and play, and it was too bad that there was nothing for them to participate in unless they wanted to play football, which, some did. But some girls just, wanted to be involved in some way. So she figured that, cheerleading would be a great opportunity for them to, participate in the game, as well as, be physically active and, give them a reason to be there.
How did you get started?
Jackie basically needed some help. Especially in the area of coaching, so not knowing anything about cheerleading at all, I jumped in with both feet and said,
Really?
let's go.
You didn't have any background in it at all?
None whatsoever.
And suddenly, you did no cheerleading, and suddenly you are coach.
That's right. It was interesting.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Watched a lot of videos and,
sure.
YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And
How did Mom do?
She was great.
So now you're like a legitimate coach because you've done the cheerleading.
I guess you could say that.
Kristen's wonderful. She's a brand new school teacher. And
I am.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Where are you going to teach?
At Echo Region Park.
Hey kids, watch it. New teacher. Tell us about your background and how you got started and why you got started and how did you get from I've never cheerleaded before to now where you're the coach. You are a coach.
I am the coach, yes. When I was younger, I always did a lot of dance, but during the summertime, I lived at the football club because my brother played and my dad coached. And Jackie was a very good friend of my mom, and she was like my second mom. So when she said, "Kristen, we're going to start cheerleading," well, I had to be there, of course. I was super excited. So I did cheerleading for a few years with Jackie as a coach. And then unfortunately with school and stuff, I got really busy. So I had to quit for a few years. But then when my life settled down a little bit more, and there was an opportunity to go back to the club and coach there, I jumped right in and was very excited about it. So now
the cheerleading that I've been exposed to is extremely competitive.
Right.
But we were talking off camera, and you mentioned that probably more so in the United States than here. Explain to me how cheerleading works, and how does it work in your situation with the Nationals?
Okay, in the States and in the city as well, a lot of the high schools and some middle schools have cheerleading squads. They are mostly competition based, so we do have competitions in the city that do get very competitive. The program that we run, or that I run at the moment, we're there for the football games. We're there for the football club. So we don't compete. We cheer at all the home games, variety of ages, but we are more so based around the football season as opposed to around a competition season.
So this is like old-time cheerleading.
Yes.
This isn't this life or death movie type cheerleading where it. Now, do you go as far into dance as some of these competitive teams do, or are you just old-fashioned cheers?
You know what? I do try to do a lot of dance with the girls. It kind of depends year to year. I kind of see what I have to work with, and some years
So
I
you're
have a
just
lot
like
of
the football
dancers.
coach.
Yeah, exactly.
There's certain offenses you can't run.
Yeah, some years it works out really well, and others I have to change it up a little bit. But
What kind of a team are you going to have this year?
we'll see. I don't know. There's a few girls coming back from last year. There's a few new girls that I'm really excited to see what they've got. Some girls that have been doing a lot of gymnastics, so that'll be fun to throw in there.
Do you have any trouble drawing girls to do this? Is it popular in Transcon?
You know what? It really depends year to year. And I find usually we'll have a slow registration, but then once the season starts and girls kind of walk by on the street and see like, oh, what are they doing over there? Or, girls go back to school and their friends are talking about cheerleading, then all of a sudden we'll have 5, 6 girls register again. So it's a bit of a slow registration process, but we always have a good group of girls and enough to...
What do you expect this year?
You know what? I'm not sure. Last year we had about 15 girls. This year I'm hoping for the same, if not a few more.
Now you said it was from 7 to 17. Do you split them up if you have too many, or how do you work it?
You know what? If I had enough to split them up, I would. It's open to from 7 to 17. Typically you have from 7 to 13, 14. So I usually keep them together. Having 2 squads of 7 girls each isn't really enough. I'd rather them be louder and more energetic all together than to split them into 2 groups. If we had a lot more girls, I would split them up for sure into an older group and a younger group. But
So you sit at home and tell her what to do?
I know she does a great job on her own. She doesn't need my help. She's got more experience than I do.
So the founder's like executive emeritus of this thing.
I just get to enjoy watching her do her thing.
That's great.
It's awesome.
That's good stuff. And it keeps the whole family together, doesn't it? Because you got Jeremy playing now, and Dad's involved, and everybody's a Transcon National.
Yeah, I actually do some of the training for Jeremy's team as well. So,
Do you really? Great.
Yeah, so I have not much time to do anything else.
That's great.
So it's all good.
Hey, thanks.
no problem.
It's the cheer squad from the Transcon Nationals. When we come back, we're going to talk football. Yeah, I know, we had to do that. It's going to be grumpy guys now. That was great stuff. Thanks, Claudette and Kristen. When we come back, we got more Transcon Nationals today. This is The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV. And it's The Huddle. I'm Scott Taylor, and with me, 2 people who are very, very important to the Transcon Nationals, since it is sort of semi-Transcon Nationals Day. To my far right, the head coach of the Nationals Midgets, John Withus, and to my immediate right, are you the middle linebacker?
I play middle, outside. Either I can play really.
You're the linebacker. They don't need anybody else.
No, we have a lot of other good linebackers.
I'm being facetious. This is Jeremy Withus, who also happens to be John's son, who also happens to be a very, very good player. And you had a very nice game at the under-18 Blue and Gold, the 28th annual Blue and Gold, and got word today that you will be with the team moving forward into the next group headed toward Football Canada Cup. It's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
What's it mean to you? You were there last year, one of the last cuts.
Yeah.
This is a big year for you.
Yeah, it means a lot to be able to move on to the next step of the cuts again. hopefully this year I'll be able to make it further and go on with the final roster team to New Brunswick, and so we'll see what happens.
See what happens. How'd you enjoy playing in the blue and gold?
It's fun. I've played in the last 4 years that I've tried out for the under-16 or the under-18 team. I've made it to blue and gold, and it's always fun every year, and it's always a good turnout for the crowd. And
yeah, the crowd was great.
Yeah.
I just loved it. Okay, John, you're back this year, kind of a down year last year, but you're back coaching, and it looks like your team's going to be pretty good. You got lots of guys back.
Yeah, we got about, I think we're probably pretty close, about 20 returning players from last year's midget team. So it gives us a great nucleus to build off of, right? We've got a lot of talented players, and we got some of the bantams that have come up are exceptional athletes. So, we'll see what happens. Obviously, the goal is to be a little more competitive this year than last year. Last year, we went to the semifinal, lost to the Nomads in a pretty tough game, right? We played well. It just, I think in the end, the better team won, and that's the way it goes, right? So, yeah, hopefully we can maybe take it a step farther this year, get to the final game, and who knows what happens, right?
Well, you're into camp now. You're into spring camp.
Yep.
What do you see? What do you like?
I see a lot of things I like. Number one, the returning players. With Jeremy, Adam Gorzens is back. So
you have a quarterback.
We have a quarterback. We got a big fullback this year. Mark came over from. He actually played time back last year. We decided to switch over, come play with the Nationals. We have a lot of good players. On the offensive and defensive line, I think we're pretty solid this year. The kids have matured a little bit more, so a lot of positive things. A lot of positive things we're seeing.
Nice way to go into the summer, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
When camp starts that way.
Yeah.
Jeremy, your background, obviously the Withus family means football in Transcona, so you were going to play football. Tell us about how you started, why you started, and how old were you when you first went up to the Transcona Nationals field?
Well, I was always younger when my brother was playing, and I would always be at the games and practices when I could, and I'd have all of his friends on the team had younger brothers, and so we'd always be hanging out. And as soon as I could, at first year Terminator, I started right away and loved ever since.
So football is just part of the Withus blood, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're going to play regardless.
Yeah.
Coach, I've always wanted to ask this about guys that are involved in midget football, and certainly involved at the top of midget football, the coaches. How difficult is it to recruit for midget, and how much competition have you got with the high schools in the area when it comes to getting players?
Well, there's always competition, right? Right in the Transcona area, Murdoch has their high school team, right? And they've been pretty successful.
And they've taken a pile of Transcona Nationals that learned through the system.
Absolutely.
And ended up going to Murdoch to become very good players.
Absolutely. But I'm a firm believer that I think there's enough talent in the area, in the rural areas. We get kids from Beausejour and Oakbank and these other areas. Honestly, I think there's enough talent in this entire area to keep Murdoch and the Nationals midget team both competitive.
It's going to drive you nuts, though, because a lot of good players go to Murdoch that really could have helped you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a team that's going to compete this year. Transcona is going to be a football hotbed this fall.
I'm hoping, right? I do think the Murdoch team is going to do very well this year, and I'm hoping that the Nationals midget team does very well this year.
Well, you got to the semis last year, and you've got all these guys back, so I think it goes without saying that you should be a pretty good club.
Well, we're hoping, right? Every year is different, and that's why you play the games, because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. But we're hoping. We're hoping for a good season.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a great one. And congratulations to you. Way to go.
Thank you.
And good luck making it to the Football Canada Cup.
Thank you.
It'll be fun in Moncton.
Yeah.
I'd like to go with you. The Withus is, I always have trouble saying that. John Withus and Jeremy Withus. When we come back, we've got lots more on The Huddle. It's community created on Shaw TV. That show was crazy.
That was a great show.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. I like it when we had Withuses.
Withuses.
I couldn't say it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you would pluralize Withus, really. It's the family of Withuses. Withuses.
Withui?
Withui, that might work.
Yeah, it might. And of course, Kristen's a school teacher,
yes,
so she could figure that out.
Yeah, I'll probably get an email. It's like, the correct pronunciation is.
It was great to have the Withus family with us today. That's the way to say it.
Yes.
It was great to have John and Jeremy and Kristen and Claudette, and we appreciate it very much. Also, Rick Hankowicz, who's got so much going on.
Oh my goodness, he's the busiest man in the city of Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's just going to be crazy, and he applied for that job.
He did, and he was just recently appointed to the board of directors for Football Canada as well, so he's even busier.
Yeah, he's been around football his life, so it's not like it's anything different for him. And I love that Mason Bennett kid.
Oh, he's so great.
And what a nice player.
He really is. He's a great player, and he's a really good kid, too. I mean, that's one of the best things about every high school age player, and really every player that we've had on the show. They're not just talented football players. They're good people.
Yeah.
They're nice people, and they've got really interesting backstories. So it's really great having them on.
Outstanding. And when we come back, we've got lots going on next week. We've got Darren Demchuk in to talk about the Winnipeg Senior Bowl, and we've got
our first flag football report.
First flag football report, and Dave Donaldson will be back. We're busy next week. This has been The Huddle, community created on Shaw TV.